Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Dwarven Discussions for March 21st, 2014. I am Kelly, as always. I am joined by Tana and Spectre.
Hello.
Hey.
And today our main topic is going to be on Diablo 3, the changes in 2.0, the secret cow level, and our hopes for Reaper of Souls. But before we start that, as always, here are this week, whatever sales. So I'm going to pass it off to Tana.
Alright, we have quite a few bundles and sales this week. Some good, some decent. We have the Humble Weekly Sale. For this week, we have the Rhythm games. So Symphony, Sequence, Bit Trip, Audio Surf, Beat Hazard Ultra, and Retrograde. We also have the Indie Gala Doorways bundle, which is Air Buccaneers, Ocknit, Unhack, Doorways, of course, as the name suggests, Huntsman Orphanage, Not the Robots, Fester Mud, and Post Mortem. There is also 3 games to be unlocked for all to beat the average. We also have the Bundle Stars new bundle, the Hacker Evolution Complete, which is Hacker Evolution and, as far as I can tell, every DLC released for it. And that's only $3. That's actually really good. And then we have the Groupies bundle, the Clash of the Worlds bundle. Sea Rush, Hidden Runaway, Box Out, Level 22, Gary's Misadventures, Level 22, Android, Level 22, Gary's Misadventures OST, Mirage Iron Smash, Alien Hand Linear, Schooldriver's Theronation, I guess, I'm not sure on that, Power Francer's Clash of the Worlds collection, and then we have something I haven't really brought up much, the Amazon Weekly Digital Deals. There is a lot of games on here, so I'm not even going to try and list them all. But one that I wanted to point out, the Oh So Fine bundle on Amazon is $11.49, so it's not too discounted, but still pretty nice. It's 71% off for Costume Quest, Psychonauts, and Stacking.
Oh, nice. Costume Quest is fun.
Yes, it is. Alright, and we have one final bin of games to play with, and I'll pass this one back to Kelly for.
Costume Quest and Psychonauts. I mean, for $11, the games you're getting, that's wow. But anyway,
Oh, yeah, and I just got Broken Age for my birthday today.
Nice.
Ooh.
You're gonna have fun.
Wow, I've heard that game's like really good. I mean, what would you expect from Tim Schafer?
Oh, yeah, and I mean, the $3 million Kickstarter that just skyrocketed.
Yeah, that was absurd. Oh man, kind of breaking away from the deals, but yeah, enjoy. I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah, I can't wait.
You'll have to come back and tell us what you think.
Indeed.
Oh, definitely.
Moving on to GOG, they have their weekend promo deal. Basically, it's a bunch of bargain bin games from the past. For those of you who don't know what GOG is, it's basically a website of really old games that they've acquired the licenses to not necessarily reprogram, but reformat, because a lot of these games on here, not all of them, but a lot of the games they have are DOS games. And so what they've done is they've taken the games, they've rebuilt them through their engine to run properly on more modern day computers without emulators or having to deal with all that hassle. Well, that's really what they've been known for is remaking these really old games and putting out games without DRM. So this week they have a bargain bin deal, saving up to 70% on some of these games. Like the majority of them are $1.79, and these games include Worms 2, Worms Forts Under Siege, Worms Unite, just a whole bunch of really old games for a pretty good deal. GOG has also started a return policy where if for some reason when you get the game it doesn't work on your computer because they had to reformat to get it to work, if for some reason it does not work on your computer, you have up to 1 month, I believe it is, to return the game for a full refund. So $1.79, it's definitely worth it, especially for the Worms games. Have a look at the air games. We'll put a link in the comment below.
Yep, there's links to each one of the bundles mentioned in the description of this video. You wanted to bring up something else, Kelly, so why don't you have at it?
I sure did. It is shameless promotion time. So starting out a new channel or a new Twitch TV streaming channel, podcast, whatever, is always hard. And while we ourselves are still small, I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine who goes by Logman, who has started his own Twitch TV streaming. He streams things like Dark Souls 2, League of Legends, so on and so forth. So Twitch TV / LogmanL, give him a look, and I think that you'll find that he's fairly entertaining. You know, he's still new at this, so all the help and advice you can give, and you know, all that'd be great. So give him a look. He's really good at Dark Souls 2. Again, that's Twitch TV / LogmanL.
And the link will be in the description below.
Yep. So moving on to the main topic today, we have a guest, as you may or may not have heard. Spectre is joining us today for our discussion on Diablo 3, what we think of 2.0, what our hopes are for ROS, so on and so forth. So welcome to the podcast.
Hi. Happy birthday to me.
Yes, happy birthday, Spectre.
Thank you,
Yes,
bro.
happy birthday.
Everybody,
Anyway,
wish her a happy birthday in the comments. I demand it.
Oh, that's fine. I'd have to answer everybody.
So let's just dive straight into the topic for today. And we're all Diablo fans here. I mean, I started with Diablo 2, then went back and played Diablo 1, which I still think Diablo 1's a pretty good game. A lot of people say it hasn't aged well, but I still enjoy playing that from time to time. Diablo 3, in my personal opinion, when it came out... Oh yeah, it was good. That's what I'm saying. I like Diablo 1 too. A lot of people seem to think it hasn't aged.
I unfortunately only got to play Diablo 1 on the PlayStation back then. I finally have an actual PC copy of it now, but I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember Spectre.
The PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Spectre, but I played your copy of Diablo 2, and then played his copy of Diablo 1, but it was on the PlayStation, and oh my god, that was horrible.
His. That's the one I played.
Yeah, the port for Diablo 1 to the PlayStation 1 was not so spectacular.
See, and that's something I would really like to get someday, is because I remember when I was a kid, I was actually getting into StarCraft, and I didn't have a good computer back then. Believe it or not, I didn't have a good computer to run StarCraft 1 of all games. So I ended up getting it on the N64, but I noticed Diablo, and I had already played Diablo 2 at that point, so I went, I wonder what Diablo 1's like, but I never picked up Diablo 1 for the PlayStation. I've always wanted to see exactly how different it is compared to the PC clone, or PC clone, yeah, to the PC version.
I'm still surprised I ever got Diablo 2. You know our parents.
Oh, I know.
It was my money, though. Haha.
Yeah,
So
I saw there was a copy of StarCraft on N64. I never wanted to touch it.
it was actually not that bad, except for the fact that it did a lot of I cannot speak today, guys. It did a lot of automation for stuff, like the I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but like you can't attack your allies in the N64 version unless you're like really like smart about it. So like I always would get like bored halfway through the game and like make it fun in my own way. Me and my friend would play StarCraft on the N64, and I would always get to the point where like this game's taking so long, I'm not having fun anymore, so I'm just gonna start screwing around. So I'd like have my siege tanks like attack areas near his buildings and like destroy his buildings because we were on the same team. There's one time where I like nuked them. I don't know, just stuff like that. Like the console ports of old Blizzard games were though I've heard that actually this goes back to the point I was going to make originally, which was Diablo 3 being a letdown at launch for me, that it didn't live up to the quality that Diablo 2 set. Uh, I You look back at old Blizzard games for the consoles, and while they were okay, they weren't the best. And I kind of find it interesting that when Diablo 3 came out on the console, that it was actually the superior game compared to the PC version, which we've just gotten patched up to the same game quality. And I find that a little interesting that after all these years, it kind of went the opposite way, where the console version was superior to the PC version for a little while.
Yeah, I was not impressed with that. It's like, why? Why can't you just keep them equal? I mean, I know there's less buttons on the controller, but really, there were some major game designs that they could have brought both ways.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. The game underwent a lot of changes. I mean, me and you got our first hands-on experience with it in 2008 at BlizzCon, and man, the game was like way different back then. When the game finally came out, like we went through normal, we went through nightmare, and then once we got to hell, I was just like, I don't want to touch this game anymore. It doesn't have like that same addictive feel that Diablo 2 had, and I just can't place it. Like I feel a lot of it could have been the auction house, but there's just something about it that was off. I feel that when 2.0 came out, that when they redid the Paragon system, when they redid the loot system, how all that worked, I feel like the game feels a lot more like Diablo now, and has brought in my attention back quite a bit.
Well, a lot of it, I think, was the auction house, because really when the majority of our group stopped playing Diablo is when we just kind of went, okay, well, we have 100 million gold, what can we buy off the auction house to upgrade our characters? Oh, the best stuff? Okay, well, guess there's no point to playing anymore. Done. And now with patch 2.0, Paragon 2.0, and the auction house gone, even before they removed the auction house, since you couldn't buy the newer legendaries off the auction house, you had to get them yourself. You're actually in the game doing something for yourself, not just farming gold or buying a $20 BNet store card and buying gold and getting the best gear just because someone else in Korea had free time.
I actually think that is what the biggest point was grinding for gear is exciting. Seeing that drop and going, oh, what is it? Identifying it, and be like, oh, hey, cool, I got this awesome piece. I think that is like the big exciting part of Diablo. Whereas just grinding for gold and then sinking it on the auction house, or like paying real money if that was your choice, I just that really isn't in the spirit of Diablo. Like, a dungeon crawler is about massive slaying and like tons of loot, but I think they did it the wrong way. I think that they made the system where, you got the auction house and you can buy the best loot from there. So, drops are rare, which I think they should be. Like, getting the best legendaries should be rare, but I think they were really rare but too easy to acquire on the auction house. And the ratio of crap gear like whites and blues and yellows to the ratio of ever seeing a legendary or set item was just way too off. I feel that when they came in with patch 2.0 and revitalized the game, that was a good step in the right direction, and the rebalancing of loot has brought my attention back a lot more, as it's no longer a game about gold farming and then buying the best loot you can off the auction house.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, back before, in like 1.8 and before, I think my total legendary obtaining by myself or, from loot, I think I got maybe 10 legendaries or set items combined. And yet I had 4 tunes max level in full legendaries.
I personally got, I think, 2 legendaries before I completely lost interest in the game. And when I say that, I mean naturally, without buying it. And that was like a level 16 monk fist weapon and a level 20 something for the mage, that like little orb thing you hold.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, focus or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, those were the 2 legendaries I got. And like I said, I didn't even get to 60. Like, by the time I got to hell, I'm like, this doesn't really feel like Diablo. Like, something's just really off. And ever since 2.0 hit, I absolutely love the game. I decided to take a break. I haven't been on in a few weeks because with Reaper of Souls coming out in just a few days now, I want to be like fresh and invigorated to go right into the new content. I'm re-rolling to a Crusader, which when we started Diablo 3, I wanted to be a shield barbarian. Shield barbarians didn't turn out to be very effective. So now that they've actually got the Crusader class, which is literally based around the idea that the best defense is the best offense, that I think is going to be a class I'm going to love even more, and it's going to get me even more addicted to Diablo than I already am.
I can't wait to see how far that shield I gave you lasts.
Well, seen as the stats on like level 70 legendaries compared to level 60 legendaries, it's like WoW inflation times a million, so.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it should last you at least a level or maybe 3. And especially with the damage return on that, it might actually be pretty decent.
Yeah, especially with like the idea that I'm thinking of going with a Thorns block build, which I don't even know if like those talents and passives are final, but I personally am excited. Me and Tana have been talking a lot. What do you think, Spectre? What's your opinion on all this?
My reason for not getting Diablo 3?
For anything from, if you know anything about patch 2.0, or, yeah, your reason for not getting it.
Well, originally it was because the development team was lost and went on to make Torchlight.
Yeah, Torchlight, for the longest
I wanted
time...
to support the original team.
Yeah, for the longest time, Torchlight was definitely everybody's, this is what Diablo should have been.
Some of it, I still think it feels like I'm playing Warcraft 3.
Well, that's kind of what that development team was spawned from. It was the Diablo 2 and Warcraft 3 development team.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, the phone rang.
No problem. I still have not played Torchlight 2, really. I've got in my my Steam list, and I just haven't gotten the time to sit down and play it. After I was disappointed with Diablo, I was just like, I don't really want to do any more dungeon crawlers. But, I have to agree that not being the original Diablo team really did put a hit on how the game turned out. And I think even more, I lost a lot more faith in the Diablo team when Jay Wilson, who was the game director at the time, he came out and literally started bashing the original Diablo 2 team. Like that, I was like, I'm done. I have no more interest in Diablo 3 if you're gonna attack these guys for making a good game. I'm sorry that, people are criticizing your game and saying it's not as good as Diablo 2, but you do not attack the Diablo 2 team. Like that's just so absurd. And while I would never want anyone to lose their
Right,
job, I'm
yeah, I
kind of
mean, you
glad.
gather the ire of the fans in that case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I would never want anyone to lose their job, but I'm glad that he's no longer director. I'm glad that we have more of the original team now working on Diablo 3 and bringing it back up to the glory of Diablo 2. I have really big hopes for Reaper of Souls, and I have a feeling that this is going to be Diablo 3's Lord of Destruction. That this is going to be the expansion that's going to just bring the game up to where it should have been and make it feel like a continuation to the Diablo series instead of, well, honestly, the joke that we got on launch.
Yeah, I think we brought that up in a previous episode, but oh my god, the launch of Diablo 3 was just horrible.
Yeah, well, I'm not going into errors. That's not really what I want to talk about, but DRM does suck.
Yeah.
But
I didn't even hear about that.
Look it up on YouTube. Or Google or anything, just Diablo 3 launch error. And you will find post after post after post, and joke video after joke video after joke video. And I might actually put that in the description, a link to a video that I thought was perfect for the Diablo 3 launch error.
I think JonTron did
please do.
I think JonTron did like a little 1-minute video on that error as well.
Yep.
It basically, the game was down for the first few days, which kind of sucked. You'd get on and be so super laggy, then you get kicked off, and then you start getting the error again. It took them forever to get going, which brought up the big debate of why doesn't Diablo 3 have play offline like Diablo 2? And it's just, it kind of sucks because Diablo 3.
Oh yeah, that was the other part.
Yeah, while Diablo 3, hey, it's fun to play with other people. It's also fun to play by yourself sometimes, and I don't want to have to rely on your servers to get on and play Diablo 3, which is something that sucks, especially because there are times when I'm up way late at night, and oh, guess what? The servers are down for maintenance. Well, can't play Diablo now. That's fantastic. I really still think that they should add an offline mode.
Definitely, I would love that.
A lot of people are wanting it because, it's a game they paid for.
I'm honestly
so
sick of multiplayers being just server-based all the damn time.
Well, a lot of people want it because, if they're on the train or something, they want to play it on their laptop. You're sitting on a train, or you're sitting in a plane or any other mode of transportation for 3 hours a day. You want to sit there and play the game you paid for.
Yeah, do they even have LAN?
It's
all through the server.
It's BattleNet or you don't play.
Ah, bleh.
Yeah,
I could go into a completely different rant on DRM and the excessive way companies are going out of their way just to get on that, and maybe that'll be a topic for a different day. But really, Diablo is a game that should have had single player mode. If you want BattleNet, if you want to play with your friends, that's fine, fantastic. But when we buy this game that's a dungeon crawler and you're forced to play with friends, that's not even how. Okay, you know what? Cut this. I'm not in my A game today, guys. So, it's just, it's something that I really dislike is DRM, and I can go into a completely different rant on DRM alone. But when Diablo 3 came out and they said there's not going to be an offline mode, that really sucks because one, servers are not always up, and servers have errors as we saw launch day. And I bet you that Reaper of Souls is going to have an error or two when that launches as well. Uh, why can't we have an offline mode? It's just, I don't understand, because if the servers are down or if your internet's down, you basically can't play the game you paid for. Uh, if you're on like a train or you're on a bus or something, and say you've got like, I don't know, a rigged up gaming tablet like the Razer tablet or a laptop, you suddenly can't play it. It's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. I mean, Diablo 2's system was perfect. You had single player, you had multiplayer open BattleNet, you had multiplayer closed BattleNet, and you had LAN. That was the perfect setup. You had, your single player game, you had your open BNet where you could bring your single player game, which most of the time had, if you played on open BNet, you had hacked characters and bleh, but I mean, you could play with your friends with your single player characters. You had the LAN game, which I think they removed like halfway through the game because most people just used open BNet. And then they had closed BNet, which is like what Diablo 3 is right now.
See, that's a system that works. Like, why couldn't they have done that? Had, single player, had open BattleNet, which is basically your single player characters on a not super enforced set of BattleNet servers, and then had, LAN, because why not, and the optional closed BattleNet, because giving people options is never a bad thing. Removing options is when problems start coming up, because there have been a lot of times where I've played single player Diablo because my friends aren't on and I just want to play my single player characters. There, if I choose that I want to play a character solo on BattleNet, I'll do that. Or if I don't, I won't. It's really something that I can't, and I like to play devil's advocate when I can, but I honestly can't. Why is there no single player? Why is there no LAN? Like, it's mind blowing to me. Why does the servers, I don't even know what to say. It's something that shouldn't have been made that way, and I really hope that we see them change it in the future.
I mean, if they don't change it, it's already a set game. That's how it is. People have accepted it. But yeah, I'm really hoping they add single player at some point. Maybe, hey, we're adding offline mode to the PC version because the PlayStation version has it, and then be like, hey, copy your BattleNet characters to your PC. Not the other way around, but,
Yeah. I don't know. If they'd been smart, they would have had single player, and then they'd be like, hey, through our service, you can upload your characters to like our cloud service. So like if you go from one computer to another, you can download it and then play that character through single player.
yeah, there you go.
They could have made single player so good because you don't always have an internet connection. Their servers aren't always up. So make it a way so like you have access to the game somehow. Because Diablo is not an MMO. It's a game that can easily be played and have a lot of fun with single player. I don't know. It was a stupid choice on their part. I could easily see a lot of people having been pushed away just because of that fact alone.
I know a lot of people who were. I don't even have to think about it. I mean, I know, like, the 6 people on our gaming group here have it, and then everybody else I know that didn't buy it because it had that always-on DRM.
Yeah. Well, I'm a sucker for Blizzard, and I'm always on my knees for them, so not much I can say there. No matter what they sell, I'll probably buy it.
There's a reason why I have
Anyway.
the the collector's editions.
Yeah, me too. Anyway,
Lucky, I just have battle chests.
I have a couple of those too, like the Warcraft 3 and Diablo 2. They didn't, you know. Anywho, continuing on, what were your thoughts, Kelly and Spectre, on them adding the World of Warcraft legendaries to Diablo 3? Confirmed entry of Thunder Fury, and the rest are all speculative at this point.
they need to be
I
stronger.
didn't know they did.
Yeah, they do need to be stronger. They have the level 60 versions in, but I'm wondering if they're going to add in level 70 versions?
Well, they're supposed to be level 70 versions because, like, here's the thing. I'm just hoping it's an issue of these aren't meant to be scaled for level 60, but we want to give you a treat. Because as it stands, Zach's been playing Diablo 3 hardcore, and he's actually, probably by the time this video comes out, Paragon level 200. He got Thunder Fury, and when he got it, it wasn't even an upgrade. It was garbage compared to like what he had, so he really didn't even get to use it. Like, that's if you're gonna implement like something like Thunder Fury and you're gonna like hype it up to be like, check it out, World of Warcraft legendaries and Diablo. It looks cool, and I guess that when Reaper of Souls comes out and you'll be able to transmog, that it'll have a purpose then. But when you think Thunder Fury, you think of a really powerful, really overhyped weapon, and when you see it drop and you're like, wow, this is actually crap, that's kind of a little disheartening.
Yeah, I can see that. Because I want Thunder Fury. And not just in Diablo, I've been farming it for years in WoW, but I want it so bad just for the graphic. But if it's a complete load of shit, then I don't know. I don't want to go into a random...
I don't know. I don't like WoW sneaking its way into everything Blizzard. Sorry, devil's advocate, but I think series should stay series.
Yeah.
That's a good point, and I could see that.
I mean, there's Easter eggs, and then there's, here, we're gonna shove it down your throat.
Yeah, and they lost the realistic style to Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. It just feels like Warcraft now.
You know, that is actually a very good point. Freaking Diablo 1, Diablo 2, like, aesthetically, oh man, those games were freaking dark, and they were super realistic for the time. Diablo 3, yeah, it does kind of feel a little like cartoony, and I don't know if it's just the graphic style or if it's the poor excuse for the deep and enriching story. I do have to agree that it does feel a little bit more cartoony, and
yeah, and,
I do agree
going
that
down to the pits of hell, the 9 levels of hell should not be cartoony.
yeah, you know, there were some mature sections of the game and some, you know, pretty disturbing monsters if you actually stopped and took a look at them instead of just, you know, whirlwinding through them and leaving them as piles of meat chunks. But I do see where you're going with how the game doesn't really have that really super dark gothic-y feel that Diablo 2 had, that Diablo 1 had. It did feel a lot more lighthearted.
In fact, most of my friends say that Path of Exile is now the new Diablo 3.
Path of Exile was actually really good. We burnt through it really quick, and it kind of had that Diablo 3, I'm done with this after a while, but...
I watched my husband play. I've been wanting to, but I just haven't been in a hack and slash mood lately.
But I will say they definitely got the random generation and loot drops perfect. The only thing I had a problem with was they tried to overhype the skill tree as being, oh, you can go anywhere and do anything, when really, if you were playing a class, you got stuck.
You can only go in a few different directions.
Yeah, you get stuck in one spot, and it basically felt like a World of Warcraft talent tree. You could go this way, this way, this way, and then maybe get a couple pieces in each one.
Right, exactly. You have to go either the physical or the magical, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was well done.
I cannot comment
It
on Path
looks
of Exiles.
phenomenal. I would really like to try playing it sometime.
What, you haven't played that either?
I just
played-
haven't been in a hack and slash mode. I don't know. I was playing like Titan Quest for the longest time there. So I got burnt out.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly, you haven't played Torchlight 2 or Path of Exiles?
I played Path of Exile. I played for about an hour, and I was like, yeah, I'm bored. And I don't want to say why I hate it, because the reason I hate it is like the reason everyone loves it. But it's a game that I can't really get into, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say it's a bad game, because it's obviously not, but it's just something I couldn't get into, so I really can't make much of a comment on it.
Okay.
But what is it that everybody likes that you don't?
Yeah, no, I'm curious.
Talent tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
The
don't
talent
understand.
tree.
Yeah,
I hate the talent tree.
I do too. I fucking hate it. It gets you excited for something that you can really play with, and then you're literally forced into a couple different directions.
But that's
Right,
not
yeah,
why I hate it.
noticed that.
I hate it because of how massive it is. Of just how many choices you actually have. Like, I like choices. Choices are cool. Give me the freaking original WoW talent trees and keep on adding rows and rows. Cool. That's fine for me. But when you give me like a giant grid of literally hundreds of squares and they're not really
Oh yeah, it gets
self-explanatory.
overwhelming. There's a difference between some choices which are like based on something. Well, it's the same deal that I have with the GURPS system, actually, with the tabletop gaming. There's so much you could put on your character you aren't going to be able to.
I think the developers of Path of Exile, when they decided to make that talent tree, went, what game am I playing right now? Final Fantasy X? Their talent tree is awesome! I fucking hated that.
Was it? I'm trying to remember, because like, I do remember a Final Fantasy game. I think it was like 12?
It was 10.
I think that had a talent tree that was very much...
It was 10. Oh,
10 was with
I
the
thought you liked
Titus,
that
right?
skill tree.
no. I fucking hated it. I basically just whenever I opened that skill tree with an extra point to spend, I basically just went, give me what I should have, and let it automate it. But no,
I don't know. Too much choice can be a bad thing.
and
Well, that's really weird, because I thought it was you that said that the skill tree was just brilliant. But, okay.
it was a cool idea, but it had the same problem Path of Exile does. It gave you too many choices, but you were really forced into a really...
so much.
But my main point about Path of Exiles is you have to use the out of game talent calculator. There is no way you are going to be able to figure out your final tree without using that talent calculator.
Well, there's no way you can really figure out your final tree and be good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out without a talent calculator, but unless you're really freaking good at like theory crafting and like have like notepads worth of calculations and have actually like spent hours looking at, yeah, you need to like I said, I only played for a short while, but yeah, that talent tree is massive, and you definitely need to use like predetermined builds and let someone else do all the theory crafting for you, because there's just way too much choice, and unless you go with a set path, a predefined path, you're just gimping yourself. If you don't care about min and maxing, I guess it's no big deal.
Cookie cutter builds are the worst, but you know, whatever.
Actually,
And
going back to
everybody
Diablo
expects
3,
you to be either one or the other.
Yeah.
Going back to Diablo 3, though, I think that, and like I said, I got really bored of
Yeah,
Diablo
sorry.
3 fast. I'm segueing. I got really really tired fast of Diablo 3, but one thing I do think that they did right was giving us more key buttons. Like, just having left click and right click in Diablo 2 was nice for back then, but the fact that we now have left click, right click, 1 through 4, and potion buttons and stuff, I think that that was the right choice.
Well, in Diablo 2, you could hotkey things to your F keys, but that still limited you and really put a delay on casting your spells. So you had to remember what each spell was. And I remember taking a piece of paper, folding it over my keyboard, and it had spell names for each of my F keys. So like when I was playing my Sork, it would be like, teleport is F6.
Yeah, I think we all did that.
You shouldn't have to do that.
Post-it notes.
Yeah. Something. Or like when I was really into Diablo 3, I wouldn't just fold it over. I actually pulled the F keys off my keyboard, taped paper to it that had the spell icons on it and spell name on the front. So like, if you've ever seen those keyboards that have the function button, and it would have like, down on the front of the key, it would be like, paste in blue. I basically did that by hand with paper.
Yeah, and that's all fine and dandy until you are on Ventrilo, TeamSpeak, Mumble, whatever, with your friends. You're just going through, kicking some ass, and then it's just like, oh, I need to switch to this spell, Alt F4, oops.
Yeah. Never put anything on your F4 button. Ever. There's the one F key I never used. Because it's like, oh, well, I need to hold Alt so that I can see what I'm looting, and then F4. Whoops.
Yeah.
Or you go, I'm holding Alt so I can see my loot. I need to open the map. Tab. Whoops.
I also like the map changes in Diablo 3.
That's funny.
That brings up, so back when Diablo 2 was still new, I was a pretty stupid kid when it came to computer games and computers in general, and I have to say that I always fell for the Alt F4 does this for you, and I could never put 2 and 2 together and be like, why is my game closing? How did I mess this up?
I think I may have fallen for that once.
Yeah, once or twice maybe, but after... Wow.
Like I said, being the stupid kid I was.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, I think overall, my thoughts on we really got pretty far away from the topic of legendaries from WoW bleeding through to Diablo, but I like them as an Easter egg. I don't know really where I stand on them, because one, as it stands right now, the level 60 versions are absolute dog crap. Like, they just don't really match up in power to what you would expect they do. Like, the Thunder Fury special effect, like that chain lightning does and stuff like that, is so cool, and yet the weapon is so underpowered that it's so easily replaced. That's a bummer. Rumors are that there are more WoW legendaries that are supposed to be in Reaper of Souls, like Warglaves and the bow from Sunwell. But so far I've only seen Thunder Fury. I don't know if those are just rumors or what's backing them. But all I can say is when Reaper of Souls hits the level 70 versions, I really hope that they're not as gimp as they are right now. That's just my opinion on this.
But they're two different series, and they should stay their own.
Yeah, I like them as Easter eggs as well, but I'm gonna agree with Spectre here.
Yeah, that would be okay.
They should not be considered actual items. I really hope that they're powerful enough to compete, just because I don't want it to be a complete load of shit, but really an Easter egg's an Easter egg.
Do you think that they should have just been like transmog,
Maybe
like
they
not
should have
actual?
just been skins.
Yeah. Same exact thing, but yeah. Yeah, I think...
Jinx!
In a way, yeah. Yeah, I think if they were going to do something like that, they should have just made them, like, rare drop skinnables. Like, hey, replaces the effect on this item with this graphic effect.
Well, you know that Reaper of Souls has transmog, so like I was saying, maybe they should have just like made them like statless. Like, hey, this is just a transmog. Ooh, look, it's World of Warcraft. How cool is that?
Yeah, and then maybe adds a graphic effect of lightning for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Anywho, moving on.
Yeah,
we were
that's pretty
speaking.
much what I meant.
We were speaking about the graphical not-so-darkness of Diablo 3 versus Diablo 2 in 1, and that's actually what kind of brings me to the next subject, Whimsyshire.
Oh god.
Whimsyshire was Diablo 3 team's answer, quote-unquote.
Fuck you.
Yeah, basically. It was a giant fuck you to all the people who were complaining that Diablo 3 was too colorful. So they made a very colorful map. And I actually find it kind of fun and funny, but some people don't.
Well,
yeah, well, it's mostly because I'm a My Little Pony collector. I'm sorry, I am. I like dark fantasy, but I also like fun fantasy. And, old school My Little Pony was actually dark. And then they fucked up for the last 20 years. And then they came back with a nice, dark, okay, half semi-dark, but also witty, new 4th gen My Little Pony. And a lot of people like it. And I'm sorry, this Whimsyshire is almost a knock on it, really.
Well, it is. It is. Okay, first of all, this dwarf is actually a brony, so. But really,
Fantastic.
it was because one of the rare monsters in Whimsyshire is a play on Nightmare Moon, which was the main antagonist for the season premiere of the 4th generation. I think really,
That's cool. If they had if they had done it smartly, I think it would have been a cute twist, but instead it was almost like they were saying girls can't play games.
well, that's a topic I do not want to even get a part of, but
Yeah, you don't. No, not with me.
really, here's my viewpoint on it. I love Whimsyshire because when you look back at Diablo 2, you're like, yeah, it's so dark, it's so grim. It is. Diablo 2 was freaking dark as crap. Like, I actually had a discussion about, like, druids, and one of my friends was like, druids were, like, in Diablo 2? I went, yeah, but don't think World of Warcraft druids, because these druids in Diablo 2, these are hardcore druids. Like, they've got, like, vine pets that, like, come out of the ground and, like, just really creepy, like, disgusting stuff, like birds that peck out the eyeballs of your enemies, like, on the tooltip. It's just, like, they're not druids in the way of WoW is a druid. Like, they are really dark, gothic. Like, the whole game was just dark. And then you have the cow level. Well, the cow level is just so silly and so out of place in Diablo 2. Is it really, like, that wrong to say that when you look at Diablo 3 that Whimsyshire's not as out of place? Like, I like it because it's a contrast. You're in a world that's being invaded by demons, where angels and demons are having this big war. Everything's pretty gruesome and just dark. And then you go into this world that's super bright, super colorful. The mini map is freaking drawn on line paper of all things, and I can see the reference to My Little Pony, which, speaking of previous generations, freaking Grogar and Tyriak and Smooze, yeah, there's some really dark stuff, but that's not what the point is. Yeah, freaking, I think I like it because it's just so different. Imagine how frightening it would be to be in this world where all these demons and angels are constantly fighting, and then to go through a magical portal to like a super technicolored world of like killer Care Bears and ponies and flowers. That's just like super like bright and colorful. Like, to me, that'd be frightening as hell, going from a world of demons to a world that's just such a polar opposite. Like, I think that's something that should
Diablo 3 wasn't that dark, so it wasn't much of a difference. Also, secret cow level in Diablo 2 was, I'm getting them mixed up, of course, was consistent art style. And it was also more of a joke with the fans, not against the fans.
Yeah, everybody thought there was a secret cow level in Diablo 1 for a while.
Diablo 1.
Hey, if you do this to this cow like 6,000 times, he'll explode into a portal into the cow level, and then...
Yeah.
And then the Diablo 2 team took it upon themselves to actually create a cow level for Diablo 2.
For Diablo 2. Yep. Love it.
That's fair enough. That was a good point. And honestly, the Diablo 3 team was not... They weren't the best to their fan base. And
at all.
I mean, it's been shown.
No, yeah. It was a giant fuck you, and so that's yeah.
If it were in itself just a joke with the fans, I think it would have been received a bit better.
I think I would have thought it was funny.
But it literally was like the Diablo 3 team just raising their middle fingers and giving a big fuck you.
To the fans who were worried, mind you, just worried, that Diablo 3 would become colorful, bright, atmospheric, that wasn't the right... I don't know how to explain.
Cartoony?
Yeah, I think they were just hoping that it wouldn't be Warcraft.
Yeah, that brings up a point. What are your opinions? Because I don't know if you know this or not, but in Reaper of Souls, they are bringing back the secret cow level. What's your opinion on that? On them basically going, because a lot of the people on the Diablo team now are not the same people that worked on Diablo 3. Like, a lot of the members are still there, but there's a lot of the old Diablo 2 team who's been brought back on, who's done a lot of work on the game. Bringing back the cow level, do you think that is something that the game needs? Do you think that that's a good, like, sorry, the game wasn't that great, a lot of you want an actual cow level, here's a cow level? Like, what's your opinion on them bringing that back in the expansion?
Well, that sounds like catering to the fans and, bringing it back to what we know it as. And the secret cow level, as silly as it is, it's a classic, iconic thing of Diablo.
I'm just hoping that they don't do the Cow King thing again, where if you kill the Cow King, that character is fucked. You can never go back in there unless someone else opens the portal.
Yeah, actually, me and you talked about this, I believe, in a previous podcast.
Yep.
Where, I've lost my train of thought.
I never got very far in the cow level, honestly.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I'm hoping that with Reaper of Souls, because one of my most memorable things about the cow level was getting in there, getting your butt kicked, And then you have thousands of cows just sitting at the portal, and because there's always that weird lag spike when you go through into the cow level, you just like you're at the loading screen, you hear moo, and then like your game loads, it's just like you're dead.
That was the greatest
That's
part.
pretty much what happened.
I'm hoping that they add a fake like little bit of lag spike when you first enter. That way, if you somehow manage to bring all the cows to like the portal entrance, that when you load in, it's like you just hear moo, and then like you load up and you're already dead because there's like a fake lag spike.
Well, like, maybe not all the time,
That would be awesome.
or maybe just like every now and then, like every 100 load-ins or something, it sends someone a fake loading screen where it just goes, and then you hear combat sounds and death sound, and then you load in and you're perfectly fine. But
I'm just saying there should be like a fake lag. That way, if you're bad enough that you bring all of them to the portal, you should expect to get your butt kicked and wait until like someone can manage to get past them.
yeah, just some form of joke to play homage to the best cow level ever. But yeah.
Really,
Go for it.
I'm excited. I'm hoping that Whimsyshire will still scale up because I do enjoy Whimsyshire. I think that it's hilarious. It may not have the best past. It may not have been spawned out of like the best intentions. It's still someplace I enjoy going to. I love the super ridiculousness of it compared to the ridiculousness that was the original Diablo 3. I'm really excited that the Reaper of Souls team is really looking at the game and going, we need to bring this back up to the quality level that Diablo 2 had, that they brought in, a bunch of the old team, and they're bringing the game back on track. And on top of all that, giving us a cow level, I think is really Blizzard's way of saying, hey, we're sorry. We messed up. We heard you loud and clear. We're fixing this.
Yeah.
I would really like them to look at the art style of this series. Look at what it was, look at what it is now, and just take a step back. You didn't make Diablo.
They made kind of a Diablo. They went... It was kind of a mix between Diablo and Torchlight, and I think if it were in its own series, that would have been great, but I don't expect them to go back and rework all the textures and assets for the old game, or for the current game. But I'm really hoping they do something better with Reaper of Souls.
Well, from what I've seen of Reaper of Souls, it's a lot darker. Like, it is a lot darker. It may not be demons because you're fighting against the ex-Angel Wisdom, the now Angel of Death, spoilers. But from what I've seen, it looks like it's gotten a little bit darker, a little bit more gothic. But here's the thing. I think this is why...
What about the cartoony, blocky type characters? I mean, I want them to go back to a realistic feel. And I understand they're not going to do pixels anymore, but it's all going to be 3D. But the proportions and the body builds.
Here's why I think they did that, and I was just going to say this.
Warcraft.
Realistic graphics age really quickly. Like, if you look at any game that's years old that's got super realistic graphics for their time, and look at them now, it's obviously aged. Whereas you look at something like WoW, which is super stylized, cartoony. Yeah, cartoony graphics don't age as quickly as realistic. I think Blizzard tried to make like that, halfway point where it's kind of realistic but stylized enough where it's not going to age really fast. And I agree with you. I would have much preferred a much more darker, more Diablo-y, like, super realism to it. But I think that a few years down the line, it would have just aged nowhere near as well as stylized would. I agree with you, but I see why Blizzard did it, is basically what I'm saying.
Same here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Still don't like it.
Not much you can do about that.
Yeah. Well, the good news is really when it's coming to graphics, like things have slowed down over the years, and we're getting to the point with as technology gets stronger and stronger that it won't be long where that won't be as big of a problem as it was in the past. Like graphics nowadays are getting so detailed, so advanced that I bet given a few years, by the time that Diablo 4 comes out, if there's a Diablo 4, if they don't decide to end the series with Diablo 3, by the time it comes out, I'm sure that graphics and computers and all that will have gotten to a point where they probably can do realistic and it won't look aged after a few years. They'll still look really good. So we can always hope for the future with as technology advances that they can go back to a super realistic feel.
I don't know. My husband makes a good point also. The gameplay of Diablo 3 got older than the art style of Diablo 2.
Yeah. Well, that they've done a lot. I mean, I don't want to say new team because it's technically the old team, but the current team for Diablo 3 and Reaper's Souls has gone back and fixed a lot of the gameplay issues in Diablo 3. Like, you don't have that, hey, I can just buy the best gear in the game thing anymore, and you don't have that, that there's only 8 chunks to the 7-chunk map, and all I have to do is look for the one different one, and then I can go to the end. I mean,
Right. It's more okay. You shouldn't change the art style until you know that the gameplay is going to be good and that the fans enjoy it.
Yeah. But I mean, we've gone through, like, go to Act 4, I think. No, maybe 3. And you go into the first dungeon there. I mean, you used to go, okay, well, it's always going to be here, so I just follow the map up to that. Done. Well, now it's completely random, and we actually had one map where it basically wrapped around on itself, and the exit was literally one chunk to the right, but there was a wall there. And you had to go all the way to the top left corner, all the way to the bottom right, bottom right corner, all the way to the top right corner, and then back in. I mean, it got long. We were in that one dungeon for like 2 hours, whereas before it was maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
They boasted when Diablo 3 was first announced, oh yeah, maps are going to be way more randomly generated than our Diablo 2 maps were, that you'll never play the same game twice. Even after the teams come in and add more random chunks, there are a lot of maps that are just the same. Like, right when you get to like that waterfall area in Act 1, just after saving the scoundrel, and he's like, go to the crypts. Like, that area just past that, the crypts you have to find are always in the exact same place. There's no randomization on where those crypts will be. You know exactly where to run straight to. And that kind of, I don't know, like, I just feel that there wasn't enough randomization.
Well, I mean,
there was a mild bit of that in Diablo 2, though, because they always had the entrance. They always had to have the entrance of the caves and stuff on the right side or whatever, and the giant tree always had to be in the same direction.
Well, there's that, and then there's exact same spot. I mean, yeah, you can have, you go out the right side of the town, and then you go down, and it's somewhere in this area. Well, in Diablo 3, it's literally, you go right, and then straight down, and then it's always going to be in that one spot. The chunks around it will be randomized,
was
but
always in the upper right.
Yeah, I mean,
and then is that even something that we can really like say is okay? More like with Diablo 2, like I said, going back to technology, the technology they had back then, they really couldn't be as random. But look at the technology we have. They've got stylized graphics. I mean, is there really any excuse for not like making more randomization? Like, there was so much that they could have done, like...
Not in the generation of Terraria and Starbound.
Yeah, really. Terraria, Starbound, Minecraft. I mean, if one...
Dwarf Fortress.
If one $150 server can run a completely always random map, then I don't see why a multi-billion-dollar server can't have one process dedicated to randomizing maps when people connect.
Yeah, there should be no excuse to, like...
So it's a multiplayer issue?
No, it's when you... Okay, so when you start your game, regardless of whether it's multiplayer or single player, it always randomizes the map. Well, what it does is it takes... Okay, here's the town. Seed this dungeon, this dungeon, this dungeon, and then the exit. And then build a path between them, and then randomize the city around it. Or not city, the terrain around it. It's always confined into the same chunk layout for some of them, and some of them are a little bit randomized. Like, it has... I think one of them has, like... always has to be here, always has to be here, and then it can have, like, 4 different paths between them. But, really, I mean, you could do a random seed on my server upstairs and come out with hundreds of millions of different pathways with the amount of chunks they have. But what they have is maybe 20.
And that's... because Minecraft is really, like, games like that are I don't know if I could say this exactly, but they're voxel-based games, whereas Diablo was pre-generated. But my point, really is, in this day and age, with what we have compared to what we had back then, I don't really think there's an excuse for how little randomization there was.
Yeah,
there's... the limit...
There really isn't.
The limitations of back then really shouldn't apply to the games nowadays. I don't know. Anyway, we did have one final point to really touch up on in Diablo 3, and that is, in a few days, the first expansion, Reaper of Souls, will be coming out. And as many of you know, Diablo 2 was a good game, but Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction took a good game and made it into an even better game. And my hope for this is that it's going to be the Lord Destruction for Diablo 3.
Yeah, Diablo...
Oh yeah, you didn't play Diablo 2 without Lords of Destruction.
No, once that game came out, or once the expansion came out, you did not. You always... Like, you could make on closed BattleNet, or even on single player, you could make... had a little checkbox at the top. Expansion character, not expansion character. I mean, that was originally added for, I want to play multiplayer with people who don't have the expansion, so it would, limit your talent trees, it would get rid of the ones they added, it would lock you from getting the expansion loot, and you couldn't go past the final act for the original game. With Diablo 3, that's not really an issue, because it's basically... It's basically like an MMO. You start the game, oh look, the expansion came out, time to patch. Okay, well I have the physical, or the digital content on my computer for it, so it's not going to crash my computer, but I just can't access it. So you're not going to have that issue of people with the expansion having to create non-expansion characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's... Really, that's moving a little away from what I was saying, which is basically that, like, Diablo 2 was a good game, but Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction just made it better. But yeah, that is a good point you make. I don't know, what are... I don't really want to get too far down that...
Vein.
The original Diablo 3 was kind of a... I wouldn't even classify that as a AAA game. It was okay. It felt like it was produced by a large company, but could have been an indie game. I know that sounds so horrible, but it was an it was an okay game with the original team coming back to it.
Hey, I'm getting more out of indie games now than I am of big company games, honestly.
Oh, I know, but with the original team coming back and revamping it, it's actually really fun now. It's actually, I consider it a good game. The storyline is kind of, but the gameplay itself is really fun. So I'm hoping that trend continues with the new expansion. Yeah. I'm hoping it takes what the Diablo 2 team has done to Diablo 3 and just ramps it up to 1,000.
Story is the biggest thing I'm hoping for. Because if you say that Diablo 3 had a story...
Diablo 2 had a beautiful story.
Oh, absolutely, and the way they told it, like especially through the cutscenes...
And the twist!
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, that set up the next expansion so
that seriously blew me away.
Yeah, it was... God, the story in Diablo 2 is fantastic. The story in Diablo 3 was... Okay, let's see. How can we fuck over the characters? Okay, Tyrael, you're now a human, and you're a little bitch.
Wait, what?
Deckard Cain?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't.
Spoiler warning.
That? He gave up his...
No.
Spoiler warning. Big spoiler warning.
Oh, well, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a bit late for spoiler warnings, but yeah.
Okay, so he freaking, like, he has an argument with Imperius, who is apparently, like, you know, the big head angel of the high heavens, and he kicks Imperius's butt, then he's like, I don't want to be an angel anymore if we're going to do this. So he, like, tears off his armor and falls down to earth. He loses his memory. You reunite his sword. He gets his memory back. You go all the way up to, like, the final act where Diablo invades heaven, and then it's like, oh, hey, this is pointless. We should just give up. We can't win. He just becomes like a big crying like pussy for the rest of it. Excuse my language. It pissed me off. Deckard Cain dies in the first act in the most absolutely annoying way possible. It's just like, oh, no! Come back to town.
Yeah.
And he's replaced. No! He's replaced by, I don't even know what she is because I do not give a damn about Leia. She's like his like, what is it, grand something?
I think granddaughter? I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to her storyline very much because I just didn't give a fuck. Yeah.
She's his niece, because I remember, because she always says, Uncle Deckard, you and your crazy story. It's just like, the entire time Deckard's alive, she's like, I don't believe his stories. Like, demons and angels? That just seems so absurd. We are in a world of the fucking Walking Dead, with demons that you can literally see outside of town, and you're questioning if his like, you know, the demons are invading.
Isn't that like Dungeons and Dragons syndrome, though? It's like, none of the peasants know what's going on.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And then...
There's a dragon! What the hell is a dragon?
The characters were so damn transparent. Like, Act 2, you knew who Belial was the moment you saw the Kid Emperor. You're like, well, yep, there's Belial. He's the demon of lies. And, like, especially when you go into the sewers and he, like, astral projects himself there, you're like, okay, you're not a kid. You're definitely the demon. You get to Act 3, and you instantly know that frickin' Leia's mother, who is the witch from Diablo 1, who has that little caravan on the outside of town, you instantly know that she's not up to good. You know that Leia's going to become Diablo, especially with, like, the way, like, the interactions have been going back and forth. It was, like, so obvious. It was so obvious Leia was going to become Diablo. And then, like, the High Heavens, which was awesome. I have to say, going to the High Heavens and actually seeing them and finding them, it was cool. But watching Tyrael break down, become a little bitch who doesn't think that they can win. Watching Imperius run around and go, screw you humans, we're the angels. We'll kick your butt after we kick the demon's butt. It's just like, the story was such shit. Like, it was a joke for a story.
Oh man, when Imperius was just sitting there on the floor, unable to get up because the whatever was keeping him down, I don't even remember it. Bleh. I so wanted to just, like, jab my sword into his skull and be like, you're done. Just never come back.
that was the stupidest shit too. It's the crystal tower. The angels have this crystal tower. There's the source of their power. If it gets destroyed, the angels are screwed. What kind of frickin' stupid ass mechanic is that?
Wow, aren't they supposed to be just holy, divine? Yeah.
They're the anti-demons, and their power comes from a crystal tower that apparently Diablo can just port into. And just be like,
Yeah,
I touch
of
it!
course.
Done!
And it makes
It was-
them powerless if it gets destroyed? Like, how does that make any sense? Okay, you can't kill demons, because if you kill them,
You'd think
they're just
there'd
going to
have
come
to
back.
be some sort of giant ritual or something, just like there is for demons.
Yeah, and even then, how is it that there's one crystal that if you destroy it, the angels are fucked, but there's nothing like that for the demons? Demons can constantly come back, and the only thing you can really do is trap them in soul stones, which even then, over time, weaken and they'll eventually escape. Like, it's so stupid. And the black soul
Right,
stone was even
exactly.
stupid.
We're gonna trap all the main demons in this one soul stone, and then Diablo's gonna eat it.
It was so stupid. That's why I'm hoping that Reaper...
Oh yeah, it's putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Reaper of Souls has a good story, but at the same time, just think about it. You're fighting the Angel of frickin' Death, who is supposedly unkillable. How are we gonna kill him? What stupid plot hole do they have? I'm hoping that like the plot...
Well, if you've seen the trailer they launched for it, they have a commercial for it. I've seen it on Hulu, and like the Angel of Death, like right at the very beginning of the trailer, grabs the Black Soul Stone, like, this will be my power. It's like, oh god, we're gonna trap him in that too, aren't we?
Oh man, I hope not. Apparently, here's what I've gotten though, is so you know how angels and demons can't actually die, that like when you kill them they just eventually come back? Apparently the big factor of Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls is that Mathrael, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Angel of Wisdom, who is now the Angel of Death, has figured out a way to actually kill angels and demons, like dead forever. And he's taken the role of Angel of Death. So I'm interested in what happens, because I'm pretty sure that he's not going to absorb the demons, and I don't think he's going to free them, because he's still an angel. I think he just wants to start killing off everything, because I know he wants the Nephilim dead, which are you, the players, and he's still an angel, so he obviously wants the demons dead. I don't know. I'm hoping the story's good.
Obliterating the universe.
Blow up the TARDIS. No.
And recreate the universe, maybe. That's what he wants to do.
I don't know, maybe he just wants to destroy all the, was it Omni... something. Everything that isn't human.
Omnipotent?
Yes, that thing. Maybe.
Yeah, and then it would create a world without gods and demons.
I don't know. We'll have to see. We got what? Let's see. Less than a week, I think.
Which isn't necessarily a good thing, because if you have no light and no darkness, you have nothing.
Yeah, we have.
The release date's the 25th.
So we got like 4.5 days until we get to find out what this expansion's all about.
Love it.
And I
hate
need
it.
to actually get the game.
Yeah, that too. Well, actually, they have Diablo 3 on sale right now on the Blizzard store. It's, I think, $20.
Well, that's cool.
You know, something else to also mention is that until the end of the 24th, once it rolls around to midnight the 25th, they've been doing a 50% bonus experience to prepare everyone for the next expansion. So
Yes.
if you get the game now, if you're playing it now, you're getting boosted XP. So that's either gives you time to make a new max level character, which I have one of my friends. He just started playing, and he didn't get power leveled. He just played the game normally, and by the time he got to Diablo, he was around level 50. Like that 50% boosted XP is like a crap ton. But that
I'm
ends.
not much for that. I like to go through things at my own pace.
Well,
It's there for.
It's not really for getting you up through Inferno. It's more for people who are wanting to pick up Reaper's Souls but don't have Diablo 3. It's to get them to 60 within the minor time frame you have here. So, I mean, normally if you're without the XP boost, it might take you 3 or 4 days, maybe a week to get to 60 if you're slow. Now, I mean, even just casually playing, you should be able to get up to 60 within a couple days with the XP boost. So that will give you...
It's not just for leveling. I was just bringing it up because, you know, there are people who maybe haven't had an interest in Diablo 3, and you were bringing up that it's on sale. I was just saying that if, you know, you want to come back for the expansion, maybe see how that is, you've got that boost. But if you're already playing, you already have characters, it's also something to take advantage of because it also applies to Paragon level experience.
Yes, it does, and that is how Zach has been amazingly leveling.
Like I said, he's probably going to be level 200 by now on Paragon.
Oh, probably.
Crazy.
But,
anyway,
we will be having a post-Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls podcast come the 28th, where we will go over what we thought was good, go over what we thought was bad, and maybe what could have been improved.
Yep. We might also... I don't know. Do you want to... Well, it won't really matter because I'm going to be re-rolling a character. I don't know if you guys are, but I was going to say we could always do some streaming as well on the TZDT channel.
Yes. Yeah, we
can to
we could do some streaming on the stream channel.
Yeah, do you want to just in preparation, do you want to give a link down in the description as well to our streaming channel?
Sure.
Anyway,
I would have thought that was a given.
Yeah, but, you know, just say. Anyway, in closing, Diablo 3 it started out pretty awful in my opinion, and it's only gone up since then. I have high hopes for Reaper of Souls, but at the same time I have big worries after seeing how Diablo 3 turned out. Here's hoping to see the game take a major upswing with Reaper of Souls.
I just want to see a little bit of the old art style. But I'm biased,
All about
and
the
I'm an
aesthetics.
artist.
All about the aesthetics.
Always.
Anyway, thank you all for listening to...
It's what gets stuck in my head. It's what I remember about Diablo 2. I don't remember hardly anything else. I don't remember stats. I don't remember... Well, I remember story, but... I don't remember mechanics all that much, but it's that visual that sticks in my head.
Yeah, visual thinkers.
I remember cows. Cows and cows and cows.
Moo.
I wonder if that's where your hate for Torn come from.
Might possibly. Fucking Torn.
Anyway, thank you guys all for...
Shoulders? Yeah, shoulder blades. The fact that Torn heads are down where their waists should be. Yeah, that's...
I like the
I actually liked my female Torn. I had a female Torn. They actually looked more proportioned.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining us for our Diablo episode of the podcast. This is our third episode. If you liked what you heard, like, favorite, subscribe, share, all that stuff. If you have a different opinion, please leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinion on whatever we discuss. We love to hear feedback, criticism, all that. And criticism doesn't always have to be positive. If you got negative criticism, we welcome it. Help us grow, help us become better. Thank you all for listening. This is Kelly, and
Just
peace out.
don't be assholes. I'm sorry. Criticism is fine. Negative criticism is too. But why are gamers such assholes?
Because they can be.
No, don't insult our audience. Forgive her, for she does not know what she says.
Ah, whatever.
Anywho, before we completely sign out, I have a little special something for anybody who's listening this far, or whoever catches on in the comments. For anybody who missed out, or anybody who wants an extra copy for their friend, or, their partner or anything, I have an extra copy, specifically for this, of the last week's Humble Bundle complete, including the Shogun 2. Comment below, and we will pick a random person out of the comments out of a hat and send you a message with the key in the message.
Yep, and if you got friends, tell them about it. Or if you're like me, don't tell them about it so you have a better chance of getting it yourself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There is one condition to this. Not just comment, but subscribe. I have to be able to see your name in the subscribers list. And for that, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
And sorry for all my tangents.
It happens.
This is a discussion. Don't be sorry. Your
Exactly.
opinion matters, just like all of you in the comments.
I
Thank
liked
you
what
for
you said
listening.
earlier about Segway. Or Segway. Yeah, that should be my middle name.
Anyway, thank you all for listening, and have a good day.